What if you were stranded in the middle of the Pacific Ocean? What would you do? My friend Nathan spent a whole year there, and he's going to talk about it. So check out this episode of Man Talk. All right, so it's probably not fair to say you were stranded,
Nah.
Nathan.
That's a stretch. It sounds good though for an intro.
Do you like that?
I'll give you that. I'll give you that.
Hey, if you're watching now, like, you don't feel hoodwinked.
Like,
It's
I
legit.
bought the plane ticket.
You bought the
there
plane
and
ticket.
back. So
Okay, so you actually gave a year of your life to be a missionary, actually in the middle of the Pacific, right?
It's true.
Where were you?
it's called the island of Yap. So it's part of the Federated States of Micronesia.
Okay.
It's out in the middle of the ocean, about 1,000 miles east of the Philippines. So it's a very small island, about 7,000 people maybe on the whole island. So
Okay.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, it wasn't like you were traveling all over the world from there. Once you got there, you
no,
probably
I was there
stuck,
for the whole year. So
Wow.
yeah.
What was, give me something that was just radically different from, now where did you grow up? What?
Michigan,
Okay,
yeah,
Michigan,
just south
okay.
of Battle Creek. So
Oh yeah, so
You
you're a
know.
Michigan boy.
yeah, just the same house my whole life, same house. Like my grandparents live right across the road out in the country. So, and I'm the kind of guy that doesn't like change, right?
Right.
Like, short story. When I was a kid, I went to camp meeting. I remember going to primary class, and my mom dropped me off, and she walked out the door. And 2 minutes later, I was like, I can't do this. And so I just ran out of primary. Like, they were like, no, come back here. You know, I just ran back to her. I was that scared to be by myself, even when I was 8 years old.
Okay, so this is a big jump from,
Yeah.
now what was there major differences, I'm assuming, between Michigan
Yap.
and the middle of the Pacific?
It's always warm, between 75 and 90 all the time. There's rainier times of year. I think the biggest difference was, well, you can get lazy when you're in college because you got a cafeteria. Like, you got to cook your own food. You got to wake up, put that rice in the rice cooker, and buy the vegetables. And cooking my own food, that was a struggle sometimes.
Did you lose any weight? Not that you don't look like you have anything to lose, but I mean.
I feel like because it's like no one's making food for you. And so,
Right.
and it's sometimes hard to get adjusted because at first you're thinking, oh, I'm going to go to the store and buy American food. Well, no, you're not on your stipend. Like, you're going to be
How much
poor.
do you make in a month?
I think it was $220 a month.
$220 a month
for a stipend.
Did you have to pay rent or anything?
No,
or
just
that?
for food. So I mean, it's doable, but you don't eat a lot
it's
of
$50 a week.
Yeah, basically.
So-
So you just eat a lot of rice and vegetables and bananas, and I ate fish. I mean, Jesus ate fish, right? So,
Yeah, right. So
but
did you buy the fish or did you actually go fishing?
I went fishing a couple times. I
okay.
was never any good at it because they did a lot of spearfishing, but I would usually buy fish, or students would bring me fish sometimes. But
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Instead of an
yeah.
apple, you got a fish.
exactly, a fish for
So
the teacher.
you were a teacher.
Yeah, so I taught history for grades 7 through 12. And you always end up doing more than you signed up for. So
Sure.
we didn't have a pastor the first semester, so we would cycle through and preach sermons, the different student missionaries. So I preached a few times. We also started a choir, and I did some ukulele lessons and other things on the side. So
Wow. Now, what caused you to say, hey, I'm going to give him a year?
it's kind of a long story. My sister was a student missionary. I'll try and keep it short, but she was a student
okay,
missionary in
so
Yap, Sarah.
Oh, same place?
Yeah, in the same place.
Oh, wow.
So in the back of my head, it was like I always wanted to go there. And this is a very long story, but basically our whole family had gone to Yap as missionaries when I was a junior in high school.
Oh, so it was like in your DNA.
So yeah, a little secret is that I kind of had always wanted to go back because I had been like a student. My mom and dad and sister had taught, and then my younger sister and I were just students there. So
Did your younger sister, is she going to do that or no?
she might. I hope so.
Oh, okay.
If you're watching this, Hannah, calling you out. But yeah, so we went there, us 5.
Right.
And so Hannah was 7th grade, I was a junior. And that was kind of like my first taste. It's completely different being a student, though, than an actual missionary because you don't have a lot of responsibilities. I just played basketball every day for 2 hours after school, But I always knew in my head that I wanted to go back to Yap because I knew people there, and it was just like, I think God can call you anywhere, but I think sometimes he puts a spot in your heart because he knows you've had experiences there and that you can be valuable with your skill set there. And that was kind of how Yap was. I was like, I really want to go back. So I actually did 1 year of task force deaning at GLA.
Mm-hmm.
So that was
And
after.
that's a school in mid-Michigan,
Yeah,
right?
Great Lakes Adventist Academy, where I went to academy.
Okay.
So that was technically my first year of volunteering, was being a dean there. And then I was planning to go back to college, but then a couple of friends were going to Yap, and I was like, this is the time,
So you did that your junior year?
Yeah.
One of the things which you waited obviously a couple years, which is fine. One of the things I've always thought, and I don't know if you agree or not, I think the most dangerous year of most people's lives, definitely of a young person's life, is the year after they graduate from high school. I see so many crazy and oftentimes tragic things happen that year after. They're trying to find themselves. They're not sure what to do. Some of them get in these situations and they're just partying like crazy, making a lot of wild choices. But I've often thought for that year, that first year, if you don't know what you're doing, to just give it to the Lord and do something like that, I think that's got huge upside.
I 100% agree, because I remember my freshman and sophomore year at Southern are just distinctly different from this past year. I was just at Southern after I had done 2 years of student missions. It's true. If you go into college and you don't know what you're doing, like, it's a scary place to be, because there's this kind of this feeling, especially if you've grown up in a fairly conservative Adventist lifestyle, that you kind of want to experiment and do different things. And a lot of times that comes out as rebelling, or it's different for every person. But one thing I can say for sure is my student missions year, I kind of already knew what I wanted to do, which was education, which I'm still planning to do. But doing that showed me like real practical ways I could do education and enjoy it. So It's true. That first year, if you go and if you don't know what you're doing, go volunteer somewhere. You don't have to be a teacher. I mean, I'm biased. I think teaching is the best profession.
I think you're absolutely right. Yeah, no.
You're on the same page. But
I love teachers.
At the end of the day, if you go somewhere, be a dean, be a teacher, or even just go volunteer at an orphanage or work somewhere, but do it with a purpose. Do it, ask God why he wants you there and what he wants you to do.
So you've given him a year of your life. Do you give him time now? I just kind of putting you on the spot, but is that something you do? Do you think about that? Do you schedule time, or whether it's a week out of the year, or do you have time during the week? Is that something you ever process?
Yeah, I spend time with God, doing devotions. And if I'm going to be 100% honest, we all struggle with these distractions. And one thing Satan's really good at is once you've come back from being a student missionary, there's a feeling that you it's sometimes hard to put as much focus into your spiritual life after that, because in your mind you're kind of living off that high, but it's been super crucial. I mean, especially here at camp. I actually preached a sermon a couple weeks ago, and one thing that God really brought to my mind was that you have to find space for him in your life. And for me here at camp, that's a specific location. I'll go sit on the swinging bridge and spend time with God, leave my phone in my cabin, just go out there by myself with God. And it's almost easier to do that when you're a student missionary, because you're so busy and you have to be so dependent on God. But in college,
kind of like sanctification by isolation.
Yeah,
there's
true.
Nothing to bother.
There's
you.
nothing to distract you.
Yeah.
People literally can't call you.
Right.
But creating that time is super important.
Yeah, and I would say on top of that, where I was going with that question is definitely connecting with God and setting time aside to actually look to help other people. I think sometimes we're more interested in going to another country than across the street. You know what I'm saying? Oh yeah, we need
to have another man talk about that.
We need to go to South America or Africa or the Pacific. And that would be so great to help people. And then you're well, hey, how about going to talk to your neighbor? Oh no.
I mean, humans are humans anywhere. Lost souls are lost souls.
Or people in the need, right? Or anywhere, right? Yeah.
It's true. And that's something I've struggled with a lot after coming back, because I had gone on several short-term mission trips, and they have some value. But after going on a long-term mission trip, I realized that everyone around me needs God just as much as people across the ocean. And it's almost easier to witness when you're in a specific location, oh, I'm here to be a student missionary. Whereas,
right, and I don't live here, so go ahead and rip on me. I'm leaving.
Exactly.
When you're at home, you're oh, it'd be awkward if my neighbors don't like me.
Yeah, because they're right next door. When I was at Southern in the dorm, I remember there was a guy just down the hall, and I'd hardly ever talk to him, and I felt an impression you need to talk to this guy. You would go be a missionary across the ocean, but you won't talk to this guy that needs you down the hall.
No, it's truth. It's truth.
It's something we all struggle with, but I think if we're more aware of it, it's
yeah. But I think that if you just schedule it, really schedule hey, I'm gonna give, I don't know, I'm gonna give an hour this week, or maybe you can give more than that. Doing that, trying to help somebody, I think it can be powerful. Matter of fact, that's our challenge. Our challenge this week is to do that. Give somebody, schedule it, give somebody your time, whatever amount you can give. We totally recommend giving a year to God, whether you go to Yap
Amen.
or you go to somewhere else. Nathan was just totally blessed. It's solidified, right? That
100%.
I'm a teacher now. That's what I do, right?
Yeah, that's 100%. After, I would be tired. Every day I wake up, and I was tired most days. But as soon as I got in that classroom, saw those faces, everything else just faded away. And it's like, God's really good at confirming like what your calling is. So
so give what you can give. If you're skilled in some area, maybe you teach people how to change their oil, or maybe you're tutoring, or you're making something, or maybe you're just listening, and you're just there, present in someone's lives. But be intentional this week. Give somebody their time, your time, and connect with them, and see the Lord bless that. So, well, hey, that's this episode of Man Talk. Thank you.
Sweet.
It was great talking to you,
fun.
Nathan.
I always love talking about my experiences.
Yeah. It sounds really like a
You should go there sometime.
I would love to, because I like to fish. So.
Yeah. Do some spearfishing.
Yeah, I've done that once, and it was super cool.
They do it at night there a lot too. So,
really?
Yeah, catch them while they're sleeping, right?
That sounds awesome. Well, hey, this is Man Talk. 3 things: love God, love everybody, and duct tape. It fixes everything.
That's right.
Thanks for watching.